Remember when Marvel just turned around and said, you know what, we've just figured out that people don't want diversity. They said, what we heard is that people didn't want any more diversity. They didn't want female characters out there. That's what we heard, whether we believe it or not. I don't know whether it's really true, but that's what we saw in sales. We saw the sales of any character that was diverse, any character that was new, our female characters, anything that was not a core Marvel character, people were turning their nose up against. That was difficult for us, because we had a lot of fresh, new, exciting ideas that we were trying to get out, and nothing new really worked. Can't say I'm all that surprised. It's like making communist propaganda out of superhero comics. Why would you? You know, it's like it would be like making Nazi superhero comics. Well, I mean, this character is incredibly Aryan, but this one has Jewish heritage. You're like, okay, that's exciting for Nazis. And you're like, okay, yeah, well, that's really exciting if you're a Nazi and you give a shit. But if you don't give a shit, it's not. But you are, I'm sure, are aware of the backlash that this received, and so naturally they had to clarify these comments, and they obviously completely walked this back. They say, discussed candidly by some of the retailers at the summit, we heard that some were not happy with the false abandonment of the core Marvel heroes, and contrary to what some said about the characters not working, the sticking factor and popularity for the majority of these new titles and characters like Squirrel Girl, Miss Marvel, Mighty Thor, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales and Moon Girl. I hate comics. I used to like them when I was a kid, and I probably would still like the ones I read as a kid, but everything I've seen since has been trash, so I don't. But anyway, continue to prove that our fans and retailers are excited about these new heroes. And let me be clear, our new heroes are not going anywhere. Okay, well, what sort of stuff have you got? You know, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be good stuff. Writer Gabby Rivera is bringing LGBTQ superheroes to life. Do you not remember this, Marvel? Do you not remember that people were like, this diversity shit sucks because you're not really writing stories? I mean, I can't help but feel there's a little bit of cultural appropriation going on here. America Chavez is Marvel's lesbian Latina superhero. I bet the sales are going to be astounding. Punch throwing across dimensions wasn't enough for her. Alright, okay. Alright. What can't she do? Just out of interest. America Chavez is shattering barriers in the comic universe and beyond. She's the first lesbian Latina superhero with her own Marvel comic series. When are you going to have the first jihadi superhero? That'd be suicide bombing the barriers. Ooh, lesbian Latina superhero. I don't care. I just don't care. Thing is, right, you say lesbian. Okay, are all lesbians the same? No. So what does her being a lesbian actually tell me about her character? Same with Latinas. Am I supposed to just simply stereotype her? Or is she a person of her own right? I don't know, but the way you're advertising it makes me think that you are just playing into a stereotype. And I'm not really interested in cliched, stereotypical characters. I mean, that's actually something that really puts me off a character in general. So, anyway, who is America? I know, can't help but think that you chose that name for a specific reason. The 18-year-old, who goes by Miss America, has long curly hair and a wardrobe of stars and stripes jackets. She attends Sotomayor University. Between classes, she picks fights with evil aliens. Yeah, I bet she fucking does. Okay, alright. You're appealing to the youth, are you? Do you remember when Captain America was doing his studies and he picked fights with Nazis between classes? No, of course you fucking don't. She isn't the typical heroine, because she's a Latina. That's what makes her different. She's got a bit of Jewish blood in her, though, apparently, according to the Nazis, I imagine. That'll make her different as well. This is the thing, it's all ideological, isn't it? I don't give a shit if she's a Latina. Miss America was created in 2011 by Joe Casey and Nick Dragotta, and has been a regular in Marvel's Young Avengers and Ultimate series. Now she's starring in her own series that debuted last month. The series, written by Gabby Rivera, with artwork by artist whoever, has America alternately fighting evil villains and enjoying time with her friends. Fab. Makes me think it's not real. You know, I find that kind of character breaking, or like immersion breaking, but I mean, I haven't read it. Maybe it's amazing. Putting aside her extraordinary speed, strength, and her ability to punch through dimensions, she's probably bulletproof as well, isn't she? America is just a sweatshirt-wearing teenager who's trying to figure things out. You could just leave out all of the superhero-ness of this comic and just go with that, because that's the part of the character you're interested in, isn't it? Let's be honest. And so far, fans agree that Marvel is doing it right. Fans. You can't call America Chavez a spicy Latina, said Brianna Jimenez, a comic book fan in Richmond, Virginia. She's strong and she's a badass, and she wants to help others, and she's doing her own thing. No one has to try and empower a superhero. You don't need to say they're strong and badass. Okay? They're fucking superheroes. This is why Marvel's committing suicide. Just so you know. This is... They've just enthralled to these people. But anyway, it's not all been great. Meet America Chavez, Marvel's queer Latina superhero. The story and the character, however, have not been free of criticism and controversy, if you can believe it. Earlier this year, a new comic book series debuted starring America Chavez, the first female, Latino, and queer character to appear in the Marvel Universe. What? The first queer, or Latino, or female, or all three of those things combined? Yeah, but the thing is she disabled? Because if she's not disabled, she's not in a wheelchair, I don't give a shit. Many readers celebrated the news. Readers. Saying the series will open up space for conversations about immigration, identity, and sexuality, precisely at a time of high political and social tensions in the United States. Wow, that actually seems like a really great reason not to make this character. I mean, if you want to open up some really red-pilled conversations, you should have jihadi superheroes. That would be amazing. Get Shia LaBeouf to play him. He looks like he's one finger away from joining ISIS, doesn't he? Others, however, argued that the focus on identity came at the expense of the story. This is my surprised face. God. It's like they don't know what they're doing. The America Chavez series isn't just centered on identity. No, but it's centered on identity enough to make it cancerous, I'll bet. According to the presentation on the Marvel website, America is not only a superhero who takes down bad guys, but also one that believes in education and one's own exploration. What's a superpowered teenager to do when she's looking for a little fulfillment? The story and character, however, have not been free of criticism and controversy. The first issues have received some harsh reviews online. What a surprise. Saying the series puts gender first, story second. Better shut those comments down. Comments under some of the video reviews about the article and articles about the series were critical of the writing and opined that elevating America Chavez's sexual and cultural identity to such a degree is actually a disservice to the cause she's trying to defend. Well, that's a very good point. The dialogue was terrible. The Spanglish was racist at best. The plot jumped around between various irrelevant points with little connection. The political commentary was as subtle as a sledgehammer, and there wasn't a single character with any sort of development other than random girlfriend who the reader never gave a reason to care about, broke up with the protagonist in what might be one of the least realistic exchanges of dialogue ever written. I can believe it. The author is apparently hoping that minority lesbian yas will be enough to cover up for a complete inability to write characters or plot lines. But this comic is so terrible in every aspect, I doubt she'll get away with calling everyone who points out the plethora of flaws racist/homophobic. I fucking told you. But you know what, the plus side of all of this is that Marvel isn't the only major comic book publisher, on the market. There will be others, and in fact this opens a vast set of folding doors for DC to really come in and absolutely smash it. What are you doing, DC? What? Oh, God. Alright, let's look at the proper article for this. These days it makes more sense for Batman to be a villain, because social justice warriors are apparently identifying with the Joker. Batman has been a hero for decades, constantly saving Gotham City from madmen and murderers. What a villain. But take away the cape and noble purpose, and he's actually a terror. Someone who's capable of causing as much damage as he prevents. Actually, that's not the problem with Batman. The problem with Batman is the fact that it's self-indulgent and vigilantism. A billionaire who's in a crime-riddled city should be donating money to keep police on the streets. More police, to protect more people at all times. Cameras, whatever other security measures you can think of. It's not that he personally terrorizes people to any great extent. He's just one man running around a city of millions of people beating up the odd mugger, right? That he's not actually that much of a terror. And seen through the lens of the 21st century. The lens of social justice is just the lens of the 21st century, is it? A time when it's understood that vigilante justice is dangerous. It's always been understood. Bruce Wayne's actions don't look much more safe or sane than the Joker's. Look, I fucking hate Batman. I've always hated Batman. But I know an awful lot about it because I have read the comics, I've watched all the films, I watched cartoon series, because I was a fucking kid and there was nothing else on television. And I get the feeling you don't really understand the Joker if you think that Bruce Wayne's actions look anything like the Joker's actions. But this is amazing. The Batman White Knight. I'm not making this up. They're calling it Batman White Knight. They created a version of Gotham with real modern day problems. And then let Batman solve them by making him the villain. Are you suggesting that the people opposed to social justice are going to solve the problems raised by social justice? Because I agree with you. How? In the comic miniseries Alternate Reality, it's the Joker, cured of his insanity. What would be the point of that? Who sees that Bruce Wayne is just another part of the city's vicious cycle of crime and sets out to stop him. My main goal was to undo the comic tropes while changing Gotham from a comic book city into a real city. A city dealing with everything from Black Lives Matter to the growing wage gap. But rather than write a comic about the wage gap, I gave those ideas to the Joker. Well, you didn't cure his insanity then, did you? Who leads a kind of media war against Gotham's elite by winning people over with his potent observations and rhetoric. You mean his lies and propaganda? At a time when protectors fail to protect and propaganda has immense power, very few stories, in comics at least, could be more of the moment than a series that shows Batman's vigilantism as part of a vicious cycle and the Joker's charisma as a marketing tool for his brand of justice. Do you even see what you're doing here? Look, the dark charisma of the Joker is meant to be one of his weapons against the regular folk around him. It's not meant to be something useful or good that you're supposed to be thinking, oh, we could use that. No, that's the point. He's an evil manipulator. By identifying with him and suggesting that this is actually a great marketing tool, that means that you are just okay with being evil manipulators. What are you doing? Do you want to be like the Joker, do you? I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't like Batman, but I'd rather be more like him than the fucking Joker. Jesus. We know the Joker is a genius, we know how he's relentless, and we know how he can play the crowd, so why not make him a politician? And have him advocate for social justice? Great move. Great move. And just to close up this video of how comic books and superheroes can just go hang because the progressives have got their hands on them, Spider-Man Homecoming doesn't pass the Bechdel test. It doesn't come close. So, if you didn't know about the Bechdel test, lucky you. The Bechdel test has 3 requirements. The movie has to have at least 2 women in it who talk to each other about something besides a man. Kind of looks like you have a problem with men. Imagine if I created the Sargon test. The film has to have at least 2 men in it who talk to each other about something other than a woman. You'd be like, well, that's really misogynist. You're killing comics. You know that. Hi, my name's Cheryl. Hi, I'm Angela or whatever. Yeah, I'm a strong female woman. Okay, good for you. And I actually make the distinction of female woman deliberately. because I know how these people think. But no, imagine, like, okay, now we're going to talk about... we have the segment where they talk about being strong, independent women, or women, and just to pass the Bechdel test, to shut the feminists up. It's not going to, obviously. So basically what I'm saying is Marvel have loaded up a gun, they've put it to their head, and they're thinking, maybe I really will pull this trigger. And DC are looking at them enviously thinking, God, I wish I had a gun as well.